When you are conditioned to be quiet, and then all of a sudden you're asked just to open up and people to get to know you, that can be very fearful. But it's also something I had to learn to move through. I had to learn to move through the fear. I had to learn to mm, let myself connect with other people, truly connect and allow them to know me and to see if we were a good fit to be friends. Because everyone you meet is not always going to be your friend. We know that. And there's a difference, I believe, between friends and then there's acquaintances. So acquaintances to me are someone that you may have met at church several different times, maybe in a Sunday school class or a class you took. You say, hi, how are things? How's the family? Very light type of conversation. Today, I want to talk about friends and what that means to you, um, and really to me. Friends, to me, they're there with you and the good, the rough times, the happy, the joyful, the playful times, and the sad times, the rough times, the grief that we want to communicate and share with a friend who will understand us and be there for us. Not necessarily to do something for us, like physically do something, but just to be there. And sometimes sitting beside you on a park bench or on the sofa or by your bedside if you're not feeling well. It is having those true friends and allowing yourself to connect with someone. And I say allowing because a lot of times, and I have found this for myself, where I have held my grief inside me and I didn't let it out. I didn't verbalize it. I didn't really know how to. And to be honest, and you might be saying, well, why didn't you know how to? Well, let me explain for just a moment. Growing up, I suspect at one point I was probably just a real chatterbox. And somewhere along the line, after many changes in such a young life, my mom died and my grandfather passed away a couple years after that. And so I became very quiet. I didn't really talk. And then when I would start to talk, a lot of times we were told to be quiet. We really couldn't talk around the dinner table, not really talk if the TV was on, things like that. And you learn after that sort of repeat conditioning, you just don't talk. You hold it inside you, and connecting with people, that can make it really hard. But to let yourself open up again, that can be fearful too, right? You may have felt that you've always had to be quiet. You always had to silence yourself because you were told you were just too much. Maybe in other words, maybe not too much, but that's what it came down to. You were too much. And how to overcome that and allow yourself to connect. I had friends, did, but I only kept them only kind of at a surface level, let's say. I didn't let them in too far because if they knew me too much, they would say, holy cow, Terry, that's a lot. And I don't think I really want to be around you. I don't think I can be your friend. And there are people like that. When you are conditioned to be quiet, and then all of a sudden you're asked just to open up and people to get to know you, that can be very fearful. But it's also something I had to learn to move through. I had to learn to move through the fear. I had to learn to mm, let myself connect with other people, truly connect and allow them to know me and to see if we were a good fit to be friends. Because everyone you meet is not always going to be your friend. We know that. And there's a difference, I believe, between friends and then there's acquaintances. So acquaintances to me are someone that you may have met at church several different times, maybe in a Sunday school class or a class you took. And you say, hi, how are things? How's the family? Very light type of conversations. You see them on the sidewalk or at the store. And then there's friends who I I term these types of friends as takers. They want to be your friend because of what you can give them. And they're looking for something from you that they can obtain within themselves. A lot of times it could be acceptance. They cannot accept themselves or an experience that they're having, but yet they're not willing to deeply connect with you. They just come to you and say, "Hey, look, Terry, I feel really bad. I have got this problem and I really don't know what to do. Can you help me with this?" And I'm going to say, yeah, sure. What are we looking at here? What's going on? And I will help them move through that. And then they're gone. I may not hear from them for, I don't know, a year or two. And then they're back. It's like, "Oh, Terry, how have you been? It's been a long time. What have you been into? Hey, look, I got this problem that I really don't know how to resolve. And I think you can help me with that. Do you mind taking some time to help me through it?" Rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. Those friends, and I use that in air quotes, what are you gaining from that friendship? Is a question I would ask you. Does it feel right to you? Does it feel, um, kind of icky that would love to connect with them and get to know them better, but you're always the one giving and they're always the ones receiving, but they're not giving anything back in return. And I don't mean to say a friendship you have to always be giving and taking, but I believe there needs to be some reciprocal connection there. And it's not always, what can you do for me? Maybe that's the crux of it. What is it that you can do for me? I don't feel that that's a friendship. That's almost like a business partner, if you will. And then there's those friends that you enjoy spending time with, not necessarily really even talking, just being with them, being in the same room with them, being at the park, maybe it's shopping. I don't know. But those friends who don't always want something from you and you don't always want something from them. You just want to be who you are and allow that relationship to develop naturally. And yes, there's definitely going to be times where you come to them and say, I've got this problem and I really don't know how to resolve it. I've got these feelings these old trauma feelings or these old experiences. And can you just listen to me for just a minute and or two and just allow me to verbalize what I need to move through me? A lot of times, just talking to your friend, a good friend that you tell all sorts of things to, and you feel safe doing that. And you will know if that is the person for you by listening to your body. Now, by listening to your body, I mean listening to your body below the neckline. What is your heart telling you? What is your gut telling you? What's your stomach telling you? Those clues of, does it feel right? Or is your body saying, no, this is not the person. Let's not do this. Don't do this. And honor your body. Your body is going to give you the right clues every single time. When you take the time to access that information, like I said, below the neck, it's not sitting in the head. It truly isn't, because to be truthful, our head is going to tell us all kinds of stories from past experiences. That's what it pulls from. And it's going to replay old stories of, you can't trust them. They don't really know you. They wouldn't like you if they did know you. That's your head talking, not your heart, not your soul, not your gut. The head will tell us stories every time. So true friends, to get back to the point, true friends, it is very much a give and take. And when someone's always giving, I would also maybe ask why. Some people, I have a very dear friend. I just love her to pieces. We talk almost weekly. And when we talk, it's like 2 and 3 hours and the time flies by and we feel that connection. She's in Italy. I'm in Western Michigan, talk on Zoom. And it's just an experience I would never trade for the world. She brings so much and asks me some really tough questions. Sometimes I ask her some tough ones too. And we were talking about friendship, what that really means. When you have people, like I said, that I call takers, they come to you to solve a problem. And that's all they're doing is they're taking, constantly taking. And then they drop off the map and you don't hear from them. And then they're back again. Hey, look, can you help me with this problem? And you do. I would also ask, do you feel like you can ask someone for help? Or are you the person that always has to be the fixer and to make things better? Because you had to do it always on your own. You had to figure it out. You had to figure out the how to's and the whys and how to move forward. You felt like you couldn't ask for help. When we ask for help from our friends, we allow them in. We allow them to see that vulnerability, the essence of who we are. So I know I've gone around and around the bush on this thing, and I apologize for that. I do tend to do that sometimes, so bear with me. But at the end of all of this, ask yourself, can I ask this person for help? Will I ask this person for help? Do they make me feel seen and valued, or are they just here to take? And if they're here to take, there's more probably going on with them. If they're here to take, I would also ask you, why are you always giving instead of also allowing yourself to receive? Because you are worth asking help for support because you matter. You always matter and you belong. Now, you may not belong with all the people that you meet. I know I sure haven't, but finding those right people. I have had people in my life that probably longer than what I should have and should have let them go much sooner. And by not doing that for myself, I devalue myself and I'm far worthier than that to the world, to you. And if you don't take anything from this other than you are valued, you deserve to belong to the right people, to the right group, to the right community, to the right friends, not just anyone you meet because you want to be accepted and you want to have that connection. And I get both of those very, very well. I was like that for a long time. But until I understood who I was and I went through my own healing process, I couldn't let people connect with me. Not really, not the true essence of me. So there's some hard questions in there. Your friends, are they takers? Are you always giving and you won't let yourself receive? You won't ask for help? You won't ask for support? Or are you calling acquaintances, friends? I think there's a big distinction there. And are you friends with yourself? Do you trust yourself? So there are lots of questions there. I know this is only like the second episode, which still blows my mind that I'm doing this because at the end of all this, if you were to know me, meet me in person, until I get to know you, I'm extremely quiet, very introverted. And for me to do this podcast, I had to allow some fear there and to move through that fear. And yeah, I actually had to ask myself, okay, Terry, are you being chased by a bear? Are you going to die from doing this? The answer to both of those obviously is no. So me doing this podcast is also reaching out to you to be friends, not just acquaintances, but friends. So we'll talk soon. More to come. I've been thinking of a good way of how to take this one more step further if you would like to work with me with healing through traumas, grief, loss, abortion. Those are heavy, heavy subjects. And as we move through these podcasts, we will get deeper and deeper into these. But if you would like to learn more about how to work with me, I will drop in the show notes my social media contacts, and you can send me a DM through there for a discovery call. It's really to find out if we connect, if we are a right fit, and if I really feel that I can help you. So until next time, look at your friends. And are you friends with yourself? What type of friends do you have? Are they givers, receivers, takers? Are they the best friends you ever had? Because those are amazing relationships that you always, always want to cherish.